So I need to calm down, eating some candy. Last period stressed me out. It is Monday morning. I'm in the middle of prepping some solutions. And at this point, I'm not stressing myself anymore about it and trying to be as accurate as possible when making them. I came up yesterday and I started to get frustrated because I was trying to find chemicals and in the prep room across from the prep room connected to my room, and just chemicals were all over the place. I found like sodium metal. It wasn't even packaged properly, not even in the right area in the prep room. So it was a little bit disappointing. And just beyond all that, didn't have the correct supplies to create a proper solution. I mean, I guess I could still do it, but yesterday I was trying to be as detailed and accurate as possible when doing it. And then I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning. So that's what I'm in the middle of doing right now, like labeling these little bottles because they're doing a chemical changes lab, not doing the physical changes because my students already get that part. So really so that they can see some of the different indicators of a chemical change and then things to make sure that they look out for whenever we do labs. For example, change in you know, the energy, the temperature, light, precipitate, things like that. So I'm gonna finish getting set up here so that way, because my room is a mess because I was cleaning out the prep room over there on Friday, and so I left a whole bunch of stuff back here in my lab, and I need to clean the stuff out or actually just set it over there for a bit so that way we have room to do the lab today. You all have this sheet right here doing a chemical changes lab. It's very, well, it's only 4 experiments. Now, just like when we did the density lab, there are gonna be 4 people at your table. However, you're doing it in pairs. There are materials at your table in the white bins. So you have to share all the materials, and some of the stuff's missing, so you don't have in this picture at least. So not everything that you need, when you get back there, you'll see it. It's just not in this picture. So you will be sharing as a pair with the other pair at your table. So there are 4 experiments. So for example, if pair 1 decides to do experiment 1, then pair number 2 might do experiment 2, 3, or 4. You don't have to go in order, you can move around as long as you do all 4. And they are on the sheet. Also, before you finish, there's this little sheet at each table. It says cleanup and disposal. So there are only 2 of the experiments where you are able to pour down the sink and wash, and the other ones it tells you what to do. So you need to find this sheet at your table. It's at the very end. It's taped. Table 2. It's taped. So before you leave and come back to the classroom, you need to make sure that you follow the instructions, especially washing your hands, because you are dealing with chemicals, and so please do not come back to the front until you've done all of that. Other than that, table 1, you're going to be the table in the back. Aprons are in the middle box, so feel free to take one. Say hi. This is lunch right now. This is what's going on.
Okay, so what am I supposed to do? And then I went shopping.
Lunchtime. So go ahead and place. We have a quiz. You either can choose. First period and second period were different. They chose differently. So you can either have 8 minutes of study time, or you can take the quizzes over counting atoms and balancing equations. So if you want study time, raise your hand. We're going to do... What's the second option? What's the other option? And the other option is just to take the quiz.
Oh, study time.
It's study time. That was the first option. Okay, so I will give you 8 minutes of study time. Sorry, those of you, they went out. So it's going to be counting atoms and balancing equations. Counting atoms is similar to the sheet that I left when I was out when you had the sub. So you can expect all types. So my last student just left about 10 minutes ago. I have a headache. I was going to go work out again, but I am going to go home. I almost left my keys, and I would look stupid being here at 6 o'clock in the morning. So right now, what I am doing is prepping the bins because my students, my A-Day classes did a lab yesterday. My B-Day classes are doing the same thing. So I'm just refilling the bins with foil because they're doing a chemical changes lab, and so one of the experiments or the changes that they will see is they're taking a piece of aluminum foil and they're placing it into a small solution of copper 2 chloride. For you non-science people, it's just this blue liquid right here. And it's micro scale, and that's the reason where I'm able to have the students work in groups of 4, or work at a table of 4, but then work in pairs at one particular table. And I think I mentioned this before in another vlog. I like my students to, as much as possible, materials permitted, to allow them to work in pairs, because oftentimes when I see that they're working in pairs, they tend to be more engaged, even my quiet students. Or sometimes the students that normally in a group of 4 would just kind of sit back and let the other students do something. So that's why, again, if I have the materials, I like to have students to work in pairs versus a group of 4. So that's what I'm doing right now, is just, I had pre-cut some foil yesterday, and so I'm just cutting small pieces right now for them. And then also magnesium ribbon, which I need to cut some pieces for them. But other than that, it's just going to be a repeat of yesterday. The students enjoyed the lab, so I'm excited about doing it again with my B-Day classes. My first period, only one student wore an apron. My second period and my fourth period, all the students wore the aprons that I had. And so this morning I had to go visit some of the other science teachers to borrow some aprons because I did not have enough aprons for all my students yesterday. So I believe I have enough. I didn't count the ones that I have in my room, but I was able to pick up 10 aprons from some of the other science teachers. And so that's it. It's 6 o'clock, I'm just barely leaving. I had a whole bunch of kids in here trying to make up their density quiz for my B-Day classes. Today was the last day. A-Day classes tomorrow is the last day. And so I had a whole bunch of students staying pretty late, and then I needed to shoot a video because I'm gonna go home, cut the pieces of video together, and then I'm uploading them to our Canvas site. And I already created some questions in the Canvas site, so that way tomorrow in class, it's gonna really be a blended learning environment. So I'm gonna try it differently this time, note-wise. Last time I sent them home and had them watch a video on density, but depending on the class periods, some class periods, only a few of the students watched them, and that's why they failed the quiz. And then some of my other class periods, a majority of the students watched them and they did particularly well. And so I'm going to try a more in-house with them watching the videos here, and then that allows me to walk around and help as needed. So some of the students I know that they will whiz through. I have something ready for them, but then some of the students who need a little bit extra time, I can sit with them and do more one-on-one, and I actually have some practice problems available already for them to do, just in case they need some extra help. So it is superhero day today, and I am dressed up as Superman. I didn't think it was a good idea for me to wear tights, because that would have been totally inappropriate. Yes, ma'am.
Do these count as one, and do they count as
So what do you think? So there's this AG plus. So what does that look like? Based off the notes that you have. Yeah.
I feel like it counts as one.
Yes, but it's a plus one.
Does count as one?
It's kind of like when we do subscripts, when we balance equations, and we don't have, so it's understood to be a 1. Okay. So plus 1, minus 1. Yeah. Hold on. Question first.
So when it loses electrons, does it gain protons?
Say that one more time.
When it loses electrons, does it gain protons?
So why do you think it gains protons? So step back, go back to the definition of what is an ion.
Gain or lose electrons.
Right. So there has nothing to do with losing or gaining protons. Mm-hmm. So it's just the electrons. And the atomic number tells us the number of protons. So if it has an Mg2 plus, what does that mean then? I'll be right there. Right. So how many does it have now? So explain to me how you got those.
Oh, this magnesium atomic number is 12, so it's 12 protons, 12 neutrons, and then it's plus 2, so you lose 2 electrons.
Correct. Yeah. How'd you get the 12 neutrons?
Just photons, and well, when you subtract the mass, 24 minus 12.
Okay. I will come to you next. I have someone ahead of you. Yes, sir.
What's the difference between like the isotopes and like just normal atoms? Like, I know this is it, but like what is their functions? Like why? What's the difference?
They're the same atom because they have the same number of protons. So you can have, there's a carbon 12, there's a carbon 13. If you look at the little picture right here, both of them have 6 protons. It's the protons that tell you what element it is, or what atom in this case it is. But if you notice, this one has 6 neutrons, this has 7 neutrons. So they are the same type of atom, they just have different number of neutrons. And that's what an isotope is. Yes, ma'am.
So, can it be negative or not?
Say that one more time.
Can it be negative or not?
It's always going to be positive. We wouldn't have negative neutrons because it's a particle.
So would it just remain the same?
Why? So explain to me how you got the negative.
Because 35 is the atomic number,
Right.
and this is the atomic mass, and you subtract them to get the neutron. And I got 40.
Correct. So it's this number minus that. So 80 minus
minus
35,
35.
yeah, would give you a positive 45. Yes, sir. Just go. I'll put it back at your table. So I had a little bit of a disaster first period, so let me give you the backstory to that. So before I left yesterday, I shot a video, about a 20-minute video of me teaching a basic atomic structure, like how to calculate protons, neutrons, electrons, what ions are, what isotopes are, things like that. Went home and I cut it up into 6 different videos, and I uploaded it to TechSmith, which is the company that creates Camtasia, or at least the software. And so then I took the embed code and I embedded that into the Canvas site that we use here at my campus, particularly my district. And so everything was fine. Like, I had questions that went along with the video. The students were supposed to fill out the notes, their graphic organizers and their interactive notebook notes as they watched the videos. So I get here today. Students grab the laptops first period and I explain it to them. So they start trying to watch the videos, and then they're buffering. And like, one student's like, I can't watch the video, it keeps pausing. And I'm like, what do you mean? And so then I try to watch it there, because it's working on my laptop and it's working on the computer that's connected to the innovation station. And so I'm like, let me, check your computer. Okay. How about you log out and then log back in? Log off the computer, log back in. And then I noticed that some of the other students had these puzzled looks on their faces. And I was like, I went over to them and they're like, yeah, the video keeps buffering. So I was trying to troubleshoot on my laptop to see perhaps maybe if I can just take the delete the embed code and then put another one in there and see if that would work. But I realized that, I guess because all the students were on at the same time and they were trying to view this video through the TechSmith site, there was an issue. So I was like, okay, wait a minute. Because at first I tried to play the video on the projector screen. Then I realized, you know what, I'm just gonna stop. Let me just teach the notes real quick. You can copy the notes and we can go from there. They were able to do that. It just was not what I had envisioned in terms of that particular period. So after first period was over and we had our advisory class, so progress reports go out next week, I had students log onto computers and check their grades while they were doing that. I quickly scrambled to download all the videos from TechSmith and I uploaded them to the Canvas site as just the original file. And that seemed to do the trick, because my second period and my fourth period, they were able to watch the videos without any trouble. And that was great. So the reason I did that is because my goal is to create more of a differentiated learning environment in my class. So that way, students who seem to be getting the material easily, they can move on and they can also be challenged. And the students that need a little bit more time can get some practice and they can call me over one-on-one. So basically today what I was doing, and what happened during second and fourth period, what worked was that students worked at their own pace and I walked around and I assisted as needed. So if they wanted to work extra practice problems, then I can quiz them really quick one-on-one before they enter their responses on the Canvas site, because that is what I was taking for a grade. So other than that, that's what we did today. So my B.A. classes will be doing what my 8A classes did today.
Two less electrons, so the return, and so and those neutrons stay the same.
So how would you calculate the number of neutrons?
You have to add 2 to make it atomic mass the same.
So remember, flip back to the first page. So remember, so mass number minus atomic number. You have 14.
Oh yeah, it's 24, isn't it? For the.
So 24 was your.
I think that's 24.
24 minus.
10.
You're subtracting the electrons. It's the protons. Because remember, the atomic number is equal to the number of protons.
There's 12.
Correct.
Yeah.
So 24 minus 12, yeah.
Mr. when's the due date for the computer?
Today? At 9 o'clock a.m. You can still do it. You'll have some time today to finish this. So that's my recommendation. Okay, y'all. Never mind. That was a fail. Hey, also good afternoon. So just because it's a day I put early in our schedule, we are doing something simple, doing the same thing as yesterday with blend. So when you log in, it's going to be periodic table, period 4, unit 4, periodic table. Periodic table basics, same thing as yesterday. Heat and electricity. So when we think of metal wiring, So that is another week. What did we do? On Monday and Tuesday we did a lab. My students did a lab, chemical changes lab. On Tuesday, however, one of my classes, I just was very stressed out because several of the students either weren't reading the instructions or they did things that they knew they probably shouldn't have done. For example, like pouring chemicals and some of the other stuff into a container or down the sink that should not have been poured down the sink. So that was disappointing. And so I just had to have a talk with the entire class about like, hey, like if people in the class can't follow instructions and aren't taking measures to ensure the safety of the other students for a simple lab like this, I don't know if I can do a much bigger lab, because right now my confidence and, you know, people's ability to follow instructions and to be safe isn't high right now. So that was just really disappointing for that particular class. For especially some of the students that I caught doing that thing, I was disappointed in that type of behavior. So after school on Tuesday, what I did after students left that had stayed for tutoring, I shot a 20-minute video of me going over atomic structure. At this point, I'm playing catch up. And I wasn't gonna send the students home at this point to watch the videos, because when I tried that with the density videos, I had some classes where a majority of the students watched and then some classes where they didn't watch. So what I did is I shot this video and then I put them onto the Canvas site with some questions. So on Wednesday and Thursday, basically I walked around and I helped as needed. Thursday, what I did during my conference period is I shot another video of me covering the basic periodic table, and I cut that up into 7 videos, and I did all that during my conference period. Uploaded the videos, and then when I got home later that day, I made some questions, but that part was pretty quick because I shot the video and I already knew the type of questions that I was going to ask the students. So my B-Day classes today, that's all they did. Oh, and the jig is up. My students have found out that I have a YouTube channel. I think they knew, because they would mention things about like my camera. They would say my vlogging camera, the vlogs. But it wasn't until this week where I heard some of the students were beating around the bush. Like one of the students was like, hey, do you have a YouTube channel? And then I actually overheard one of my other students say, yeah, he has a YouTube channel, and you were on there and we were lighting the Bunsen burner. So I knew at that point that they had seen it because it was a clip that I had showed of this particular group lighting the Bunsen burner. And then a student who I don't even have was like, yeah, I saw your vlog. Thank you. And then one of my students pulled up, I guess he found out through my website, because several of my students have told me, because I had that Instagram poster, that they've tried to look me up. So I'm guessing that's what they tried to do. And they found my website, and I embed my videos, my vlogs onto my website. So one of my students during the blended learning exercises, he's like, yeah, and he pulls up my website. At first I see like the little like Facebook like pop up, and that's how I knew. And then like they were making fun of the fact, because I have that molecule, like I'm biting the molecule with my mouth, and they were like making fun of that. So I just had to like redirect, hey, you know, I'm glad that you're interested in the vlogs or whatnot. However, I need to get you back to what you're supposed to be doing. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's no big deal. My vlog is for teachers or anybody who's interested in becoming a teacher. So hopefully those students who have found the vlog are not abusing, you know, the channel or the comment section of the videos. Other than that, now I am going to go home because it is Friday TGIF, and I am not going to stay here very, very late. Well, that's it. If you're interested in checking out some of my other clips, you can do so by clicking on any of the links right here. If there was anything about this particular video that you liked, then make sure to hit that like button, comment down below, and or share the video. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe so that way you can bond with James. As always, thanks for watching.